Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. Tonight, help has arrived in the Mississippi Delta after Friday night's deadly tornado killed close to 24 people. The storm just about 50 miles from Arkansas. Today, an apparent tornado hit Georgia, adding to this weekend's damage across parts of the South. Mike Helgren is in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, where the destruction is most severe.
Drone footage over Rolling Fork, Mississippi reveals the deadly tornado's impact for miles around.
I know we can rebuild, but what you do with the devastation? What you doing all this?
Help is on the way.
Governor Tate Reeves urged residents to work together in the aftermath of the severe weather that ripped through western Mississippi and other parts of the Deep South.
In times of tragedy, in times of crisis, they stand up and they show up.
On Sunday, President Biden issued an emergency declaration for Mississippi, making federal funds available to the hardest hit areas of one of the nation's poorest regions.
The president has directed us to be here to assist the people of Mississippi, to be here on an enduring basis.
There is simply nothing left of many blocks of downtown Rolling Fork, where homes, offices, and houses of worship have been destroyed from the tornado.
The organ sat here. We were able to salvage it, we hope.
Here in town, the powerful EF4 tornado leveled Father Greg Proctor's church.
What's in your heart when you look at this damage?
It's kind of devastating, makes my heart sore, but I also am faithful that we can and will come through this.
This weekend's fearsome storm spread far beyond the Mississippi state line. Early Sunday, a tornado reportedly touched down in Georgia's Troup County, destroying homes and downing power lines and trees in its path. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp issued a state of emergency throughout the impacted region. Mike Helgren, CBS News, Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
The National Weather Service warned of a new risk of more severe weather tonight. That includes high winds, large hail, and possible tornadoes in Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama.
Well, we had a gorgeous weekend, the last weekend of spring break before we head back right into the work week. This is what we saw for today. It was a warm one along with that sunshine. We reached the upper 70s here in the metro, stuck in the upper 60s to our north, but to our south, we were into the low 80s. We actually do have a cold front that's slowly pushing on through tonight. So it's going to be a little bit cooler, but somewhat closer towards average lows for this time of year, with an overnight low of around the upper 40s across central Arkansas, closer towards 50 south, and it could be just above freezing to our north and west. A beautiful forecast nonetheless for tomorrow. Not nearly as warm. I feel like it will be about 10 degrees cooler with highs in the upper 60s across central Arkansas. Cooler to our north and of course warmer to our south with a little bit more of that sunshine. I will full look at your forecast, what to expect for the upcoming week just ahead.
All right, thanks, Corrales. Now we're keeping our eye on a couple of road closures coming up. I-30 near Roosevelt Road and I-40 will be closed overnights. Same with the 630 East ramp to I-30 East. You'll also see single lane closures on the I-30 in North Little Rock and frontage roads between 6th and 10th Street in Little Rock. Finally, you'll see full 24-hour closures on McGowan Street, and detours will be signed. Last month, we shared the story of a Sherwood boy who was hit by a car on the sidewalk near the Amy Sanders Library. His mom happy that he was okay, but wants more to be done. Jalissa Garza shows us how she's teaming up with parents, asking for something to change.
Sunday, small businesses in the city of Sherwood came together in support of 12-year-old Braylon Murdoch and 10-year-old Addison Chrisman.
Addison was hit at about 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and Braylon was hit the following Monday about the same time.
Savannah Huber and Carissa Murdoch coming together to host this after relating in a way they never thought they would.
I was in shock for several days before I really even was kind of able to think clearly again. You feel like the life sucked out of you.
Both kids are okay, but their parents say they're still feeling the impacts.
She has lots of doctor's appointments, lots of therapy appointments. This has not only affected her physically, but it's also affected my other children mentally and emotionally as well, and including my son who witnessed it happen.
He is still having the nightmares. He's still going through the trauma.
They say they're still waiting for police to take action.
I have heard nothing regarding an arrest, to as little as even a citation for hitting someone and running. There's been very little communication.
I'm hoping they'll do their jobs and bring justice to both of these kids because they deserve that and so much more.
While they wait, both of these moms are hoping conversations in the community and sharing their stories will help spread awareness and prevent this from happening to another family.
Definitely needs to bring some awareness to pedestrians, add more speed bumps, add more rules.
And although what they've endured is difficult, they're glad they can do this together.
I'm glad to know that I'm not alone in this. We're never alone in this life, but through the unfortunate circumstances, I made a friend.
In Sherwood, Julissa Garza, THV 11 News.
We have reached out to police for an update, and we'll update you when we have more details. Now, early this morning, North Little Rock Police responded to a call on West 16th Street near the Dollar General. Officers found someone suffering from stab wounds and took them to the hospital where they're now recovering. Police then learned that a suspect involved in the incident barricaded themselves inside the home after several hours. Then police were able to arrest 48-year-old Treese Dawkins. She's been charged with first-degree domestic battery. Police are still investigating the issue and will give you more information as it becomes available. An arrest has been made in Pine Bluff connected to a double homicide earlier this month as the search continues for 2 other suspects. Police say Quentin Lowe, right there on your screen, was arrested in Maumelle and returned to Pine Bluff. He's charged with 2 counts of capital murder, first-degree battery, among other charges. Police are still looking for 17-year-old Deshaun Cobbs and 20-year-old Keenan Smith for the same double homicide. If you have any information, you're asked to call police. Tonight, Fort Smith police are looking for a suspect who shot and killed a woman Friday night. Police responded to a robbery and homicide at a convenience store. Close friends say 28-year-old Chanel Moore was shot and killed while working her shift. Family members have started a GoFundMe page to help with Chantel's 4 kids. Fort Smith police are still looking into this, and as of right now, they have not made any arrests. The Fed raised interest rates again this week, the 9th time since last March. The rate hike will have an immediate impact on the 1 in 3 Americans who carry credit card debt. But there are ways to lessen that blow. Tanya Rivero is in New York with what you need to know.
Americans have never held more credit card debt than they do right now. Almost $1 trillion total, an increase of nearly 19% over the end of last year. And now, with the Fed's 9th interest rate hike in a row to 5%,
inflation remains too high and the labor market continues to be very tight.
Many Americans will see an almost immediate increase to their credit cards' interest rates.
When the Fed raises interest rates, it really kicks in quickly, and that interest rate hike applies to currently held balances as well as future balances.
Your card's rate is not totally tied to the Fed's actions. Your credit score has a lot to do with it. Here are tips that could bring some relief. If you have good credit, transfer balances to an introductory 0% rate card. A lower interest personal loan can also help. And finally, try picking up the phone and asking your card issuer for a lower rate.
We found that about 70% of folks who had asked for a lower interest rate on their credit card in the past year got one.
And remember, there is a flip side to higher interest rates.
They've been great for people who are savers.
While no one can predict the Fed's next move in May, experts say it's wise to prepare for both prices and interest rates to continue to go up by paying down that expensive debt and putting away savings in a high-yield account. Tanya Rivero, CBS News, New York.
With spring here, you might notice inflation's impact on caring for your garden as well. Nurseries across the country are seeing a rise in prices for yard care equipment and supplies.
Prices have been going up the last 3 years in a row now, and it's probably been 10 or 12 years since we had a big price increase in fertilizer.
Now, some stores are dropping their markups on goods, lowering their own profits, but keeping customers happy. Overall, the cost isn't stopping everyone from buying what they need, but people are taking notice.
Now everybody is paying more for everything. And, you know, that's just, some of that's just life, but it's a little excessive. that is the reality.
And following the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, today the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis spoke on Face the Nation about the state of the banking industry.
The banking system is resilient and it's sound. The banking system has a strong capital position and a lot of liquidity, and has the full support of the Federal Reserve and other regulators standing behind it. Now, I'm not saying that all of the stresses are behind us. I expect this process will take some time, but fundamentally the banking system is sound.
Senator Mark Warner also said he was confident in the banking system, saying the collapses of the banks were because regulators didn't spot clear weaknesses that adjustment banks are now making to avoid internet-based runs, like we saw with Silicon Valley Bank. Back here in Arkansas, the state unemployment rate is headed in the right direction. This according to the Division of Workforce Services. Overall, Arkansas's jobless rate is lower than the national average. The report showed more than 3,000 people joined the workforce, and the labor force participation remains stable at 57%. Over the last year, unemployment has stayed steady, with over 43,000 people without jobs. This week was missing Conway teen Tanvi Marupali's 15th birthday. In Conway today, her family and the community planted a tree in her honor at the Faulkner County Library Community Garden.
Tanvi loves the outdoors. She loves all living things, and we thought the best way to honor her and hopefully make her happy when she returns is that she will get to come to one of her favorite places, the library, and visit a tree that's planted just for her.
Today, her family said they've raised the reward for information that leads to Tanvi's return to $25,000. Her family and organizers say they're thankful for the support they've seen all across the state and are still hopeful for her safe return.
We just want to tell Arkansas that for us, Tanvi belongs to all of us, and it is so important for everybody to do everything in our ability to be able to bring her home.
Tanvi has been missing since she first disappeared on January 17th. One high schooler in Benton is helping her community get healthy. After the break, we'll introduce you to the team behind the Beyond Fruit Carts. And it was an absolute beautiful weekend here in the Natural State. After the break, we're going to look a little more into the spring weather, see if it sticks around for the end of spring break. We'll be right back.